Is BYU too aggressive on fourth down? In today's video, we're going to be taking a deep dive into BYU's fourth down decisions during the 2024 football season. First, though, we want to get some context on BYU's aggressiveness during the Kalani Sitake era. Now, in Kalani's first year as head coach in 2016, he made several aggressive decisions, including going for two for the win at the end of the game versus Utah, ultimately got stuffed, and then, of course, the infamous fake punt on 4th and 19 at the -5 against Boise State. Because of this aggressiveness, he's been compared to coaches such as Ron Rivera, who has the nickname Riverboat Ron, who is the former coach of the Carolina Panthers and Washington Commanders, due to his aggressiveness on fourth down. And while some of Kalani's decisions on fourth down have backfired, others like Jaron Hall versus Utah in 2021, the throw to Matt Bushman on 4th and 1 against Boise State in 2019, or Tyler Algier running for a touchdown on 4th and goal against Utah State in 2021 have contributed to important wins. So in this video, we will evaluate whether BYU is being too aggressive, too conservative, or just right when it comes to fourth down decisions. So this chart's going to help us understand how aggressive BYU actually was on fourth down in 2024. Now, what you're going to see is that generally the plot's going to divide into three regions. So the green represents when they went for it. And you can see that most of the time they went for it, it was on fourth down and 5 or less on the opponent's side of the 50. Now, the horizontal axis here is the yards to go. The vertical axis is the field position. So right here is midfield. This would be red zone up here, and this would be BYU's own goal line back here. So 4th and 5 or less in plus territory, a lot of green here. Conversely, when it's 5 or more and they're in field goal range, they usually kick the field goal. And then, back on the other side of midfield, they pretty much punted, other than, a couple instances at the end of the game against Oklahoma State and against Utah where they had to go for it. It was a game-winning drive situation. So overall, looking at this plot, it actually looks pretty much like you'd expect. I don't see a crazy tendency of being too aggressive in fourth and long, and I don't see them being too conservative either. I think that they picked their spots pretty well, but let's look at some more data to see if that was really the case. First, though, we want to look at what factors influence BYU's fourth down decisions. And splitting out the times where they went for it, the times when they punted, and the times when they kicked the field goal by the yards to go, it's pretty clear. When they went for it on fourth down, the average yards to go was around 3.5 yards to go. When they kicked the field goal or punted, it was well over 8 yards to go. And overall, they went for it 27.6% of the time on fourth down. And one interesting note is they went for it way more often in the first quarter than any other quarter. I don't know what you can chalk this up to. Maybe they just want to be aggressive early in the game, send a message, try to get up early. Maybe they were just often ahead in the second, third, and fourth quarter, and so you don't need to be as aggressive, but an interesting note there nonetheless. Now let's compare BYU's fourth down aggressiveness to the other teams in the Big 12. And looking at, some of the other teams here, BYU actually looks pretty standard. A couple of teams I want to point out here are Arizona State and Baylor. Arizona State and Baylor both went for it a ton on fourth and short. And one of the reasons you can chalk that up to is the running game of Arizona State and Baylor. Baylor prides themselves on that downhill running. Arizona State, of course, has Cam Scadaboo, and also notably had kicker problems all year long. So that definitely influenced them to go for it on fourth down way more often. But looking at the rest of the board here, I really think BYU looks pretty standard. So, I don't see them being way more aggressive or way more conservative than the other Big 12 teams. Yeah, looking a little closer at the numbers, it backs that up. BYU is going for it at 27.59%. It's about average compared to other Big 12 teams. They ranked 8 out of 16. And surprisingly, their average yards to go on fourth down, 6.91, ranked 6th in the Big 12. I thought that it might be quite a bit worse than that. It seemed like they were always in third and long, but I guess they did a good job of at least picking up a few yards on third down and making it fourth and not so long. Of course, the important thing is not just how often did you go for it on fourth down, but when you did go for it, how often did you pick up the first down or score the touchdown? And it turns out BYU was the third best in the Big 12 in fourth down conversion percentage. They converted 18 out of their 24 fourth down attempts, 75%. That's really good. In fact, it's the sixth best conversion percentage in the FBS this year, and it trails only Iowa State and TCU in the Big 12. And conversely, opponents, when they played BYU, went for it 34 times, only picked up 16 of them. And that difference right there, when you convert on fourth down 75% of the time and your opponents only convert 47% of the time, that's going to win you a lot of games. And that's going to make you a Big 12 title contender if you can keep that up. And it's interesting to see that BYU went for it on fourth down 10 less times than its opponents. Again, maybe you can chalk this up to BYU's strong performance. They went 11-2. They didn't trail a lot, especially in the first half of the year. And when you're winning, you don't need to go for it on fourth down quite as often. Also want to look at how much does fourth down success really matter? And the short answer is a lot. This is a plot showing BYU's fourth down conversion percentage on the season versus their winning percentage for the 9 seasons that Kalani's been the head coach. And you can see the 4 best seasons in terms of fourth down conversion percentage were also the best in terms of win percentage. And in stats terms, we'd say the correlation between fourth down conversion and win percentage during the Kalani Sitake era is 0.74, and perfect correlation is 1. So that's very strong. It just goes to show you when you can convert fourth downs more than half the time and you can hold opponents to under 50% on fourth down, you're going to win a lot of games. We also want to look at some of the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to BYU's fourth down play calls this year. Now, the good ones to start out. Miles Davis, 4th and 1, takes the speed option pitch up the sideline, gets to the SMU 15 for a first down. BYU kicks the game winning field goal. Love it. Nothing better. 4th and 2, they run Hinckley up the middle, gets 3 tough yards, get the touchdown on the next play to cut it to 1, cut the lead to 2. And then, of course, the Jake Retzlaff pass to Chase Roberts against Oklahoma State, picks up the big first down, keeps the change moving, and we know the rest. Now, the bad one, the only one you can really question in my mind, let me know if any others come to you, but 4th and 4 against Arizona at the 5-yard line, first quarter, and they throw an incomplete pass out of the end zone. It's a tough call there, whether to kick it or go for it, but they end up going for it. They don't get it. Like it was going to cost them at the time, but of course they end up winning that game by multiple scores, and it doesn't end up mattering. And then the ugly ones against Utah, they throw a quick pass out to Chase Roberts, doesn't pick up the first down. Utah goes on to score a touchdown and go up 21-10 at halftime. Can't fault them too much for going for it there near midfield, but you got to have the ability to pick up a yard if you're going to beat your rival on the road. And of course, later that game, this one didn't end up mattering, but Jake Retzlaff got sacked by Junior Tafuna and Karene Reed so fast. They were there right away, and fortunately got the holding penalty, picked up the first down, and then were able to kick the game-winning field goal. But you got to be able to block on 4th and long if you're going to pick those up. So in conclusion, we should expect the following from BYU in 2025. We should think the BYU will typically go for it on 4th and 5 or less in plus territory. It might depend a little bit depending on the game situation, etc., but that's the overall tendency. We should also expect that Will Ferrell's reliability will make BYU less aggressive on 4th and long than other Big 12 teams when in field goal range. When they get there, they're in field goal range, and it's not, just easy 4th and 2, 4th and 3. They're going to take the points. Other Big 12 teams that don't have a Will Ferrell, they might be a little bit more inclined to go for it in those situations. We should also expect, based on what we saw from special teams, that BYU is going to try a fake kick and a surprise onside kick at least once per season. They were successful with a fake punt, fake field goal, and a surprise onside kick this season. I love it. I hope we see more of them in 2025. We should also think the BYU will be successful more often than not when going for it on 4th down. We can see that when you get your 4th down conversions more than half the time, you're pretty good at winning games as well. So hopefully that continues. And then, of course, we hope that better 3rd down success will make BYU less dependent on 4th down conversions. I think as Jake Retzlaff continues to develop, as LJ Martin and the running backs continue to develop, we're going to see BYU become much better on 3rd down, and that will make them a little less dependent on 4th down conversions, but also hopefully in more 4th and shorts where they can just pick them up and not have to make the tough decision on a 4th and 5, 4th and 6. With that will conclude today's video. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about BYU's 4th down decisions this year? Would you like to see them go for it more often, or do you think they should dial it back a bit? Till next time, go Cougs.